Everybody, hope you're an awesome day. This video is just gonna be off the cuff. It's gonna be about something I've been dealing with for a few months now, probably a few years, and I just felt like it needs to be addressed. If you know me, you know whatever issues I face, I like to document them, advocate for them, make them known. I'm not one to shy away from my issues. I know some people do that, and I do to a degree at times, but I feel like now I'm at a place where I can discuss my issues. So the reason I'm making this video today is because today, December 12th, 2019, I'll be doing my first ever counseling therapy session. And this is something I thought I never would do. Um, but that's what's happening starting today, probably about every week for the foreseeable future. I'll be going to professional counseling. And um, why why I'm doing this is kind of still muddy to me. I'm still all over the place. Back in October of this year, I got diagnosed with both anxiety and depression. A diagnosis I was not prepared for. Brief history: I've always been anxious. I've been an anxious person for years now, and I just thought that was part of my life. But I just got through the actually yesterday a course, introduction to psychology course, and it was that. I think the week before I started the course, I watched the Joker movie with my buddies, and that highlighted mental health awareness to a big degree. If you haven't watched that, not a spoiler, but the overall arc of the movie is basically bringing awareness to mental health. And if you let your mental health start to degrade away, then that can lead you down a very dark path to a point where you might not be able to recover from that. So, from watching the Joker movie and studying psychology for this course, it made me realize and reflect on my own mental health. I'm like, no, I'm not healthy. I'm not happy. That's basically the best way to put it. I'm not like on the brink of madness, but I'm generally not a happy person as I seem. Um, and that, if you're watching this, you know me, that might be a shocking revelation or something, but just looking back over recent years to now, I'm overall okay, happy, but I always feel like there's something like holding me back from being like genuinely happy. It's hard. It's hard to pinpoint, honestly, to be honest. It's hard to pinpoint my struggles, but it's just the overall. I'm struggling. I need to be better. I need to be happier, fully. Um, and I went to my doctor in October, and I'm like, hey, here's my issues I'm dealing with. He asked me some questions. I mean, he told me, hey, you got anxiety, which I figured that, and depression. Depression floored me, because I figured I had anxiety because like I said, I'm a very anxious person, and but depression, I'm like, I don't have depression, I don't think. But we talked about it some more, and he's like, I have basically like subtle depression, like it's there, but it's it's like I said, it's complicated. It's weird, but I have depression. The symptoms are there, and I basically, because looking back at it, I see them. I just basically ignored them and thought, okay, because also I'm a type 1 diabetic, so that plays a role into my mental health and mood as well. But looking back, I can see where depression plays a big part in that. Diabetes does as well, but I think depression is also a big part of how I was feeling. So I started antidepressant, fluoxetine, in October. Took it for a month. Went back to my doctor about 3 weeks ago, and we reviewed everything, how the first month went. He started me on 20 milligrams of fluoxetine for my mood and stuff. And I didn't really notice too much until like 3 weeks in. I started to feel a teensy difference. Um, but it wasn't. Excuse me, it wasn't much. He's like, "How you feeling?" I'm like, "Honestly, not really any change." And he's like, "Okay, let's bump it up to 40." So I'm at 40 milligrams of antidepressant medication. I've been on that 40 milligrams for about 3 weeks now. And something that he didn't tell me, which I did not know, was antidepressants can. Well, I knew it, but I didn't. It went over my head a little bit. Antidepressants make you drowsy. That's a side effect, a possible side effect. Now, he said take you when you take your other medications. I have quite a few oral medications I take, so I'm like, okay, I take my medicines in the morning, so I'll just add to my regimen. And I was with the 40 milligram, I was drowsy daily. Like I would wake up, take my medicine, eat some breakfast, and I was within an hour. I need to sleep again. I'm like, this is not normal. I know. I slept a good 8 hours, 9 hours. I'm good to go. Took my medicine. I'm drowsy again. So I call my doctor. I'm like, hey, I'm taking it in the morning. I'm drowsy. What's going on? And they call me back. He said to take it at nighttime for an hour before you go to bed. So I started doing that about a week and a half ago, taking my morning medicines, but taking that particular medicine in the evening before bed, and that did it. Knock on wood. No more drowsiness. I've been a little tired here and there, but no more drowsiness. Like I was severely drowsy due to taking my antidepressant in the morning. But like I said, he didn't tell me not to take it in the morning. He said take it when you take your other medicines. So I did. But yeah, it made me super drowsy. So kind of a quick caveat: if you take antidepressants in the morning and you're drowsy, bump it to evening, you'll be fine. But talk to your doctor about that first. Don't just take my word. But if that's the case, talk to your doctor and switching things up. But I've been taking that for about in total. I've been taking fluoxetine for 2 months now. And every time I'm with the doctor, he's like, "Hey, I suggest counseling as well." Because whatever you might have some deep-rooted issues that you're not conscious about, and counseling can help you with those issues. Um, I'm like, my first visit with the doctor, I'm like, thanks, but I think I'm fine. I just need a mood stabilizer. I'll be fine. I'll be better. I promise. Second visit, same thing. Hey, I know you said you didn't want it, but counseling still highly suggested for those who are taking antidepressants. So keep that option in mind. He gave me a contact information for a local counseling agency. Um, he's like, just keep it in mind. But literally everyone I was talking to about my struggles, I talked to a few people about, hey, how you doing? I'm like, hey, I have anxiety and depression. That's it. They're like, hey, are you doing counseling too? I'm like, I won't, but a lot of people's like, hey, counseling would be good for you. A lot of my friends, a lot of my church family, hey, counseling would be good for you, I think. This and the other, and I thought about it and thought about it and prayed about it, and things happened, and I'm like, you know what? I'll try it. Because at my reflecting on my current state mentally, I'm struggling. I will admit. Um, there are things I'm dealing with subconsciously that, again, I know this is like a purpose of antidepressants or not, but for me, it's my emotional state has been heightened dramatically. But what I mean by that is, I was the type before I started taking this medication where I would bottle up my emotions, and if I would get emotional, it would basically just happen all at once, which is unhealthy in itself, I know. But this is how I was. I would just let issues happen. I just bottle up the emotions, bottle up how I feel, and just explode sporadically, randomly, which is not healthy. And I knew that. But since I've been taking fluoxetine, my antidepressants, it seems like I'm paying attention to my emotions more, which is good, I think. But I'm not like an emotional wreck. I'm not constantly upset or bawling. I'm not emotional. I'm not a wreck. But I'm able to focus. Like, hey, I'm emotional currently. I wasn't like emotionally numb or anything, but like I said, I would just push my emotions to the side and focus on other things. Um, but now when I'm emotional, I feel like, okay, like what caused me to feel this way? And I would ask myself like that type of questions, like, okay, why am I feeling this way? What's going on? And I could pinpoint my issues, typically, and I'm like, the best way I can describe my state and why I'm going to counseling is because I need help organizing my emotions. That's the best way I can describe it. Organizing my emotions. Um, because I view my emotions now as like a filing cabinet. Just imagine like a big filing cabinet. The files are everywhere. Different emotions are labeled. I'm trying to organize them. Um, that's the best way I can describe it. Like I said, all this mental health is new to me. I grew up thinking that mental health was a myth. Not a myth, but like it wasn't as severe and dangerous as everybody said. I had a very closed-minded view on mental health, and I'm like, well, counseling, therapy, it's just people preying on people who need to talk about things. Like I said, my view on mental health was very closed. And looking back on that, I apologize for that view. Everybody says that when you deal with it yourself is when your eyes are open to it, and that's my case. Is because of my diagnoses of anxiety and depression and all that. I'm more aware of mental health issues. I know it's very real, and it is frightening. It's weird. You feel like you're trapped in your own body. And yeah, this is how it was for me. I was like, okay, I have mental health issues. Huh. And my biggest struggle with that was I'm spiritual. I'm a Christian, if you didn't know that already. I'm studying currently. I'm actually a senior now in Bible college, getting my ministry and Bible studies degree. And that was the biggest struggle for me with my mental illness diagnoses was that I felt like I've completely failed as a Christian. I'm here, I am praying to God multiple times a day, reading my Bible, studying to be involved in ministry full time, and I can't get my own mental state right. I feel like such a failure to God, to my family, to myself. I let my mental demons get to the point where I can't be genuinely happy or function properly. I'm like, I failed. I basically repented, like, God, I don't know what happened, but I'm sorry. I was a mess spiritually, as far as like spiritually, emotionally, spiritually, whatever you call it. I felt terrible about me dealing with mental illness. I'm like, I failed. I talked to many preachers about it. A lot of my friends, I'm blessed to have a lot of ministry brethren as friends. I talked to my pastor about it, my former pastor about it, and they all told me the same thing. A failure. Everybody deals with this, especially Christians. A lot of preachers I know deal with this and the other. And I feel bad about it, but still in the back of my mind, I feel bad about that part. But I'm working through that. It's just something I got to deal with. I'm not as upset about it as I was initially, but I'm better with that. So why am I making this video? It's gonna be a long video, so I'm sorry. But I wanted to kind of record my before counseling session, and then I'm gonna try and come back after the counseling session. So that's the point of this video, is I want to document me talking about my overall experience with mental health, my diagnoses, where I'm at currently, and then I'm going to come back after the appointment and talk about how I'm feeling then and what's going to be going forward. But I wanted to highlight my struggles. I'm not scared to highlight my struggles. I want to talk about my struggles. So if you're struggling, maybe this can help you as well. So come back for part 2. I'll see you in the next one. What's up, guys? Welcome back to part 2 of my video. This is a day later after my first counseling session yesterday. I told you I was going to do a review afterwards. I didn't have time. My session took a little while, and I had to do a couple of other things. So this is me after the session. I was giving you a run through of what was described and what went down in the session. So if you're one like me who was skeptical about doing therapy, I would say that it works very well. So yesterday I went to my therapist at 1 p.m. I got there early because I forgot what time my appointment was. So I got there like an hour early and filled out paperwork, and I've never filled out so much paperwork in my life for the therapist. It was about 12 pages of paperwork. And out of the pages, there was some for office use only. I filled out like 8 of the 12 pages. And then The place looked beautiful, nice place. We sat. My grandma was with me, and we sat and waited and waited. It was about a 30-minute wait because we were early. Therapist came up and got me, introduced herself, talked to my grandma a little bit, and then we went back and um, let the show begin. So nice room. She has cats there, which I call therapy cats. It's joking, but they're sweet cats, and they were all loving on me during my session, which I thought was interesting. Because she said one of the cats does not get in people's laps much, but it got in my lap. But we got into the talking about stuff. I'm not going into super duper details. It's a 50-minute session. Every session's gonna be 50 minutes. And just a gist of we talked. I was more vocal than I thought I would be about my issues. That was something I was kind of nervous about. It was like, how talkative would I be? How vocal would I be about my struggles? Surprisingly, I was pretty vocal. She asked me questions. She's like, tell me about yourself. I did the best I could. And what I was diagnosed with was PTSD from some events in my life. I'm not going into the details, but I had PTSD from some things, which is probably as common, but this is how it goes. But I got that, and she's also suggested me do a couple other things as we progress to make sure she's doing the best she can to help me through my issues. So I'll be going to another specialist soon. I can't remember his title. I think it's a psychoanalyst. I'm not sure, but I gotta see him a few times, and she wants him to do a thorough like psych evaluation, which was interesting for me to hear. I never thought I'd be in the position where I need a psychological evaluation, or that I'd be able to diagnose with PTSD. But these things happened. But most of the time this was an introductory session. We get to know each other. She was telling me to she was asking me certain questions, telling me to pinpoint certain time periods in my life. So therapy is kind of like dissecting your past to make you better. That's what it's going to be for me. I know is you have to dissect your past, and for me that's difficult because just yesterday's introductory session, I struggled with reliving my past. But I did it. And coming out of the therapy session, I felt alleviated. I felt so much better already. Because typically with therapy, well, for me, what it is you just want someone who's unbiased, who will not judge you, who will genuinely just listen to you and care about you, just listen to you ramble about your deepest and your innermost struggles. Because while my family listens to me and they're unconditionally supportive, they listen with a bias because they love me, don't like to see me in this certain state that I'm in. And with a psychologist or whatever she is, she listens unbiasedly, and she's listening with the intentions of making me a better person, making me better in general, making me happier, and stuff like that. Now, as far as what's going to happen, I'm going to be seeing my therapist every week, same day of the week, every Thursday. And the timetable of how long is undetermined at this time. It's going to be a while, she said, which I anticipated, and I'm fine with that. But the reason I made this video in 2 parts is because before I did this, I was very anti-mental health. Meaning, I discussed in the first part, I discussed with my therapist, is I thought that therapy was a waste of time. It was just people out to get your money, just listen to you cry and ramble. I was wrong. I'm so glad I was wrong about that. Therapy, if you struggle with any mental illness, if you struggle with any mental struggles, therapy is a wonderful place to go to. And even though it's only one session under my belt already, I feel way much better than I did going into it because I have so much I carried that I'm able to talk about, I'm able to get off my chest, and just not feel afraid to do so. I can just unload on my therapist, and that's what she's there for, and she can suggest things, and She suggested some things. One of the things she suggested I cannot remember. I don't know if I zoned out during that time of the session, but I have no clue what she told me to do. But the other thing is the typical deep breathing techniques when you start feeling anxious to take deep breaths and all that. So my homework between now and next week is doing the deep breath exercises as I get anxious, like now. And I'm gonna have to talk about what the other thing was because, like I said, I forgot. So that's one thing too. Is if you zone out during your therapy session, don't feel bad. I felt bad initially, but therapy, if you're new to it, is a lot to take in. So yeah, I zoned out, and I don't regret that. But I'm very excited and blessed to have been able to do therapy, and I'm very excited to see where I go and how transformed I get with therapy because it's a real thing, it's a necessary thing, it's a great thing. So I do recommend therapy for anyone who struggles with mental illness, anxiety like me, depression like me, PTSD like me. Get help. Don't suffer by yourself. That's what I did, and I can say mine's been going on for years. I just struggled accepting that I had mental issues and that I needed to get help. And I discussed that a little bit in part one about my issues with that, and of course I discussed that with my therapist too. So I can't stress enough, therapy is good to unwind. It's if you've been carrying a lot of baggage, sadness, burdens for years, therapy is wonderful because you can just unload. You can toss the weight off your shoulders and just you can feel better. Because like I said, only one session, I feel fantastic. I know I have a long way to go, but I know that yesterday was the best start for me. So thank you for watching, guys. If you have any questions about my experience, as long as it's not confidential, I'll answer in the comments below. I might do some of these videos occasionally as we go through the therapy session. I'm not going to do it every single week. I might do it at the key session moments, maybe discuss it, but I feel like I need to make this video to highlight mental health and the importance and the necessity of therapy for those who struggle mentally. So thank you for watching, guys. Love you all. Have a great day.